shocking truth. How some are getting PR through Canada's Baby Citizenship Loophole 2025. Imagine flying to Canada for just a few weeks and leaving with a newborn who's automatically a Canadian citizen for life. Sounds unbelievable, right? But it's happening right now in 2025. And thousands of families are using this exact loophole to secure a future path to Canadian permanent residency. Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear will completely change how you see Canada's immigration system. Welcome to Canada Insight Now, your trusted source for real updates on pension, immigration, and politics in Canada. Stay informed, stay empowered. Let's begin today's update. First, here is the basic fact that surprises many people. Canada grants automatic citizenship to any baby born on Canadian soil, regardless of the parent's immigration status. It doesn't matter if the parents are tourists, students, temporary workers, or even undocumented residents. If the baby is born in Canada, that child becomes a Canadian citizen by birth under the Citizenship Act. This policy is known as Birthright citizenship. Only a handful of countries in the world, including the United States, follow this unconditional rule. Now, the loophole part comes in how this citizenship can eventually lead to permanent residency for the parents. Technically, having a Canadian-born child doesn't immediately grant PR or any legal status to the parents. But in reality, it opens up several indirect pathways that, over time, make it much easier for them to stay in Canada legally or permanently. And this is where the debate begins. In recent years, an increasing number of foreign nationals have reportedly traveled to Canada on temporary visas, often as visitors, international students, or even through short-term work programs, specifically to give birth. This phenomenon, often called birth tourism, has been documented in major cities like Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, and Montreal. Private clinics and even online consultants have been accused of helping families plan short-term stays that coincide with delivery dates. The motive is clear. Once a baby is born in Canada, that child instantly becomes a citizen. Later in life, when the child turns 18, they can sponsor their parents for permanent residency. While that's nearly 2 decades away, the real benefit starts much earlier. A Canadian-born child can access public health care, education, and child benefits that non-citizens normally can't. Parents, in turn, can apply for longer stays or humanitarian exemptions, arguing that their child, a Canadian citizen, should not be forced to leave the country. That humanitarian argument is powerful. Canadian law prioritizes the best interest of the child, and the government rarely deports families when a young citizen would be affected. This often results in parents getting extended visas, temporary resident permits, or even pathways to PR over time. That's why critics call it a loophole. It's not illegal, but it does give parents a backdoor route to staying in the country. Immigration experts in 2025 say this issue has grown noticeably since travel restrictions eased after the pandemic. According to unofficial estimates, over 5,000 babies are born each year in Canada to non-resident parents, a number that continues to climb. Hospitals in major cities report that maternity bookings by foreign nationals have increased sharply, with many coming from countries in Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. But this isn't just a moral or immigration issue. It is also an economic one. Giving birth in Canada can cost anywhere between $8,000 and $20,000 CAD for non-residents, depending on the hospital and services used. That means some families are spending thousands of dollars to secure Canadian citizenship for their newborn. Private maternity centers have even started offering Canada Baby packages, promising full care, accommodation, and paperwork assistance for expectant mothers. This growing industry has alarmed some lawmakers, who argue that it undermines the fairness of Canada's immigration system. They say genuine applicants, those waiting years in family or skilled worker streams, are being sidelined while others find shortcuts through birthright citizenship. Calls for reform have grown louder, especially from provinces struggling with housing and healthcare costs. In Ottawa, several MPs have proposed studying the issue further. While there's currently no official plan to change Canada's birthright citizenship law, discussions are underway about introducing conditions, such as requiring at least one parent to be a permanent resident or citizen. However, such a change would be controversial, as it could conflict with the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which ensures equality of all citizens, including those born in Canada, regardless of their parents' status. The Federal Immigration Department has responded carefully, saying that while birthright citizenship remains a cornerstone of Canadian identity, any misuse of temporary visas to exploit the system will be monitored closely. Officials emphasize that Canada continues to welcome genuine visitors and expects honesty from all applicants about their reasons for travel. Still, public reaction has been divided. Some Canadians argue that the system is being taken advantage of, with hospitals and local taxpayers indirectly bearing the cost. Others say that punishing babies born in Canada for their parents' choices goes against the country's humanitarian values. After all, these children are Canadians under the law and deserve the same rights as anyone else born here. Legal experts point out that the so-called loophole isn't actually a flaw. It is a feature of Canada's inclusive approach. Unlike some nations that have abolished automatic citizenship for children of non-residents, Canada has chosen to remain open and compassionate. Historically, this policy has helped strengthen diversity and unity across generations of immigrants. However, the debate has reignited in 2025 because of a few high-profile cases. Media reports revealed that several international agencies were advertising birth tourism packages, targeting families abroad, promising easy PR routes through having a baby in Canada. These reports have fueled public pressure on the government to tighten visa screening and impose higher hospital fees for non-residents. Meanwhile, families who came to Canada through legal means are expressing concern. Many say they waited years for permanent residency and feel the system must remain fair and transparent. On the other hand, supporters of the policy highlight that the number of birth tourists is relatively small compared to overall immigration, less than 1% of all births annually, and shouldn't be exaggerated. So what does this mean for anyone planning to move to Canada or have a child there? The key takeaway is simple. Giving birth in Canada does not automatically give parents any legal status or PR rights. It only grants citizenship to the child. Parents still need valid visas, extensions, or humanitarian grounds to stay. However, as that child grows, they can one day sponsor their parents legally under Canada's family reunification system. That's why it's called a long-term loophole, not an instant shortcut. It's legal but strategic. Families who plan ahead are essentially planting a seed for the future, a Canadian citizen child who can one day help the whole family settle permanently. Thanks for watching Canada Insight Now, where facts meet clarity. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so you never miss important news that matters to every Canadian.